Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Pommie, Mbangwa and Bhattacharjya. I just want to say before we start, if you're a Kolkata fan, just look away. Just log out. Just like shut the computer.
He can't. He's got to work.
He's besides Joy, who has to be here because of contractual obligations. And pending lawsuits. Besides that, everybody else, if you're a Kolkata fan, look away because what Chennai has done to them and what Kolkata has done to themselves as well with the kind of bowling that they bowl. 220 for 3. Right? You see some 200 scores when you lose wickets, right, Pommie? When you're getting there, you see a lot of 200 for 5, 7. This is 220 for 3. Faf du Plessis, Rituraj Gaikwad. Fantastic. Great opening partnership between them. Faf almost getting to 100, right? Completely deserved it, but just ran out of deliveries in the end, right? Second last ball gets a single. He's on the other side, but Jadeja gets it for the team. A sixth of the last ball. They're at 220. Jeez. Pommie, I mean...
Yeah, a lot of runs.
Damn.
A lot of runs. Yeah. And what in for a penny, in for a pound. I think that's what you said, Joy. And
Joy said,
you said you like this because it's going to be a shootout. On the one side here, these guys going to run up and bowl far. And they tried to do that, didn't they? The spin up at the front kind of had everyone foxed a little bit. And when the Pacers came on, it was, well, we've got to go at you. And they did, right? And they enjoyed the paces. As we said, though, it can work for you. It can also work against you because this is a good pitch at Mumbai. And you still have to bowl in the right area. It's not just pace that's going to do it. Because sometimes when you have the pace, it actually works for the batsman. And they can enjoy that pace and send you to all parts. When it starts happening that way for guys, though, there's a tendency to just get lost in it. You get this red mist and you're trying to get out of overs and unable to think clearly. So guys run up and bowl faster and faster and disappear further and further rather than taking all the pace away and trying just a different ploy. Today, though, I think their quest was to go out there and with pace beat Chennai. It didn't work, clearly. It didn't work.
Joy, first, there's two questions. First one, you all right?
Yeah, look, I just want you to that. I'd like the producer, is the producer listening? Can we put a PG-18?
He never is.
PG-18 adult if you're a KKR fan, because I don't want children below the age of 18 in Kolkata to see this, really.
Yeah, extreme violence.
Extreme violence. Yeah.
That's it. Just extreme violence. That's all we're saying. But you said something about a shootout. There was a shootout. One side, unfortunately, had blanks.
Yeah, it's been a very difficult day. And look, Kolkata hasn't helped themselves also. I mean, you've got a bowler like Kamlesh Nagarkoti. He's not played for 3 matches. He walks into the team. Yeah. Okay. When you're giving him the overs, he's starting to bowl in the 11th over. Even
the ship has sailed.
Yeah, exactly. Even Andre Russell has had a chance before that. These guys are now set batting at 80 odd for no loss. And that's the first time you give him the ball. He gets smashed because, of course, he's low on confidence. They're high on confidence. They know exactly how the pitch is playing. I mean, that's one of the things that you do, that you bring in batsmen. And like what Chennai did with Rituraj is the polar opposite of what Kolkata did today with Kamlesh Nagarkoti. By giving him the ball at that position at that time, I mean, it's such a difficult... It's like literally throwing him to the wolves.
Yeah, it's a good point. He came and bowled in the 11th. By that time, Rituraj and Faf both supremely set, seeing it like a football perhaps. And that's when the acceleration started, didn't it, Pommie? I mean, you and I were here. It was 80 odd in you've got 80 odd in the first 10 and you're looking at it and saying, all right, can they get to 200? The acceleration began then for the back 10 and they just didn't stop then.
Yeah, so in the beginning, they have to try and get some acceleration going just to get the innings started and to see kind of at what rate they can bat and how good the pitch is and how well it's playing. And once they are unscathed at about 9 and 10 overs, it ceases to be about or let's see what happens. It's all gone from there. There's absolutely no option from there because you have 10 wickets still, and you have so many guys sitting in the dugout who can whack it. So there's no excuse for not taking down whoever comes on. And so he comes on and meets that. And Gaikwad tucks in, so does Faf. There was never going to be, he was either going to get a wicket or go out the ground like everybody else had done. Unfortunately, this time around, it was going out the ground because they just kept going, Chennai, and it didn't stop right till the end.
The Chennai Express, there you go, and that's why I was saying that, because that is the acceleration, that's the innings progression. You look at that; they've gone at 54 in the power play. That's a decent power play. Yes, you'll take that. Maybe just a little slower than from 7 to 10, but there you go. Afterburners on, kicking in good and proper. They've got 12 and a half from 11 to 15, and then 16 to 20. They're at over 15. And over, and that's the perfect roadmap for 220, isn't it, Joy?
Yeah, it's a perfect roadmap, and I love what they did. They had intent. So Moeen Ali didn't waste time. His job was to go and attack Sunil Narayan, and there was not a shade of regret. He's hit a 4, he's hit a 6. He could easily take a single and put it on. No, he's a designated hitter. His job is to take risks. He'd keep trying to hit 4s and 6s until something happened. Look at what he's ended up with, a strike rate of above 200. Why? Because he's come out with intent. He's not there to make a 30 ball 45. He's out there to score whatever at 200 plus. Every ball goes. And you have to. And that's great intent from the entire batting lineup. And I love the way they played the game, because this Chennai, it's looking like they've had a booster shot. Somebody's given them a booster shot, and they're suddenly sitting up and
they've all got vaccines because they probably they're about 45. That was the India philosophy. I'm joking. They're all above 18. That's what's allowed in India now. But you're right.
I'm only worried about when Shahid Afridi will get his vaccine.
There you go. It's changing the subject again. And talking about this roadmap in terms of how they play. The game these days, I say these days, even the 2020 format has shifted. Think back to that India and England series, and you watch all those, both the teams, just the hitting they possess. And sometimes you get them a really good one and they can hit from ball 1 up, right up until the end of the 20th over, no problem. But sometimes what happens, as is the case here today, is you kind of feel your way and you have the intent you're supposed to have, but you get to a place where you've set up what you must do. And if you don't do it and you give yourself the opportunity to try and bat a team out of the game. And if you get yourself in that position, it is critical that you play that way. If you second guess yourself, if you half don't go and do. In watching there, I think it was between overs 17 and 19. I was sitting here and Sean Pollock was one of us. And I was thinking, well, I'm not so sure about what's going on here. Why is he blocking a few? Faf du Plessis? Because it was, you're 2 down. Why are you blocking it? There's absolutely no reason for you to be blocking it. You shouldn't be looking for 1. You should be looking for 6 and 4. If you can't, well, you can't. But you should be looking that way. And then he shifted gears again and went again. Thankfully, it was sort of 4 or 5 balls. But that's what it takes for the game to get out of your grasp, isn't it? 4 or 5 balls. You're looking back when they've chased later. If they've chased 200, you're going, there were those 5 balls. I could have used them better. And that's how close things can be. So important when you get into the position to make sure you're doing what's supposed to be done. Sometimes it won't come off and you won't end up with 220. You'll end up with 200. You'll end up with 190. But you have to go for it, because if you do, then you might win the game with only half the game done.
Oh, Faf could have just been taking a breath. It's absolutely steaming pile of dung weather here in Mumbai, right? It's just, you don't know. You're in your little air-conditioned ivory tower, Pommie, but you have no idea. If you look outside, it's a steaming pile of dung kind of garbage weather. Yeah, but that could have been a difference. He could have got his 100. He was absolutely brilliant. When you look at his analysis afterwards, when you see he scored 95 or 60, you say, well, what are these guys talking about? Obviously, it's gone crazy. He scored at almost 160. But yeah, there was there was that bit in the beginning that could be the difference between 95 and his 100. 220 is still going to be good enough. But look at Faf. I mean, this is the faith. Again, he's no spring chicken, yeah, Joy? He's no spring chicken himself, Faf.
No, but he's one of the most superbly fit cricketers I've seen. I mean, he's elite level fitness. If you see Faf and Jadeja, don't judge them by their age, because fitness-wise, they are different creatures. Brendan McCullum was a bit like that. They're forces of nature. I mean, physically, they're such superior specimens. Their body hands it up much better. And look at what Faf did. Faf and Rituraj, Rituraj hit those lovely drives, beautiful drives, and kept the pace going. Faf hit a few, but they exchanged the role of being the aggressor in the beginning. Once Moeen came in, Faf actually took a back seat. Moeen was the guy who was the aggressor. And that's what Faf has done. Then again, he tried to come in towards the end. And I think between when he and Dhoni played, they wasted a few deliveries. But I think that's Faf again, exchanging roles. And there are very few cricketers who can do that. Shikhar Dhawan, Faf, these are two of the cricketers who can be both the aggressor and the anchor. They can do both. Kane Williamson's another case in point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, experience, right? I mean, experience and understanding of the game and conditions and just knowing the context, just understanding the context really well. That's what these champion players do really well. So Faf really just absolutely brilliant. More, just all the batting has just been absolutely brilliant today. They've got this 220 now. It's the second highest score, right? But you got to think that when Punjab was playing a few days, about a week ago against Rajasthan, they set the similar total. Rajasthan came scarily close, Pommie. And the Knight Riders have the kind of batting, right? Maybe it's not been in form, right? Yeah. Maybe they haven't got what they want from Morgan, Karthik, and Russell. But if today is the day that perhaps two of them can get going, they can make a fist of this.
Oh, they've got players. They've got players. Rana, good form. Shubman Gill, what a player. You want to watch. He gets 20 years sitting on the edge of your seat. Wow, it just plays lovely shots. He gets more than that. Fantastic to watch. And you go down that order. They've got players. No doubt about that. Can they get 221? They certainly can. Will they? Oof, well, that's the question. I don't know. The good thing, though, as Joy said at the beginning, it's a shootout. And once a side's got a 220, you don't have many options. You have to go at it. No matter what happens, you lose 3 early on, you don't have an option. You must keep going at them. So they'll come out guns blazing. And hey, you never know.
You never know, but on the flip side, Joy, if I can play devil's advocate, you could also lose by 60, 70 runs. And there's that dreaded net run rate again, which has bitten the Knight Riders in a nasty place 2 years in a row.
You could. But the way KKR has to play this game, they have to go after 220. They have to go guns blazing. Yeah. If they lose by 60 or 70, because if they go and start playing carefully, and they have the guns. See, they've also got Sunil Narayan back in the team. Sunil Narayan's strike rate has never been his problem. He's not going to pot it around. Morgan's not going to pot it around. Andre Russell's not going to pot it around. And Andre Russell's finally thinking, okay, here's a total which I don't need to think about. I have to go there and whack the ball. All this thinking, play a few defensive shots, rotate strike. I don't need to do anything. I just need to stand and hit the ball. And I think it could play into their hands, but I really don't see a close match. I see either Kolkata chasing this down, or I see them losing by a fairly substantial margin.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about Andre Russell, right? Andre Russell, you don't want to give Andre Russell a choice when he goes out saying, should I have the sword or should I have a feather duster? Today is the kind of situation, Pommie, where he says, I've got to get out the battle axe. That's the only weapon available.
Not just him. In whatever way you're going to do it, you're playing a game where you're chasing 2 runs a ball. That's
now that you put it that way.
It's as simple as that. So however you do it, if you do it in flash style and you smash it, fine. If you caress the ball through the gaps, make sure that you do, because keep in the back of your mind, 2 runs a ball.
In fact, what 2 runs a ball does is to make it even more scary, is that if you play a dot ball, you need to get a boundary on the next one.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Joyce, you see what Joy's eyes are going to the screen, right? Because he's just, I marvel at how you're keeping a straight face, because I know you've seen Shubman Gill has gotten out, right? You've seen that. I know you've seen it from the corner of your eye, yet you are smiling. This is professionalism at its peak. You're just not letting any emotion come through. I love that. It's brilliant. Tell us how you feel.
I am feeling absolutely fine. I think KKR just has to go for this, hit this really hard, and pray that two of the top 5 batters get off to a start. There's no other chance otherwise.
Silver lining, he didn't waste any deliveries.
That's good, yes.
That's okay.
But if you get out on one ball, right, the next guy is going to get 4 on the next. So at least get a run out, right? At least run yourself up. We're just kidding. We're you're just thinking that are we making all the jokes on behalf of the Knight Riders? No, we'll make a joke on Chennai as well. Because if you look, I mean, we're going Faf was brilliant and Moeen Ali was brilliant and all of them. But they all had 180, 200 kind of strike rate. I don't think that's impressive. Ravindra Jadeja, 600 strike rate. Now that's how you play T20 cricket, right? So please don't give me all this amateur, half-baked 180 strike rate, right? 96
you're talking.
Look at him.
You're talking like a Delhi University father whose kid is trying to get into IIT. Sharma ji's son has got so many marks. What is this? Kid comes back 200. Moeen Ali sitting out there, and then Stephen Curry comes and says, "Go and look at Jadeja. He's got 600." Ridiculous, guys.
Oh boy!
Oh, that's brilliant.
Never good enough. Never good enough.
Never good enough. It's just never good enough. You're never good enough. Go and study. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to go now and see you at the end of the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. I mean, unless the match is over. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. No. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm telling you, this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun chase. The Knight Riders fans can't be so heartbroken at the end of it. The team's going to give you something. That's my guarantee to you. All right. It's time for us to go now. Big thank you to Joy and Pommie. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You were watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.